All right, we're back with another episode of Unlearn with us. And today I'm super excited, excuse me, to have Fiona Milligan joining me. Fiona is a former student. I actually got the opportunity to teach her in two totally different ways. One online when she was in grade 10, and then I got her for a full year face-to-face in her last year of high school, which was amazing. So welcome, Fiona.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, amazing. Love catching up with former students. Fiona, tell us about yourself. What's going on in your world?
Okay, so I'm Fiona Milligan. I'm 20 years old. I go to college right now. I'm going into my third year of college. The college is called Olds College. I'm taking my sports management business diploma. So it's like sports and business combined. And I'm a hockey player, so I play for the college team. Right now, I'm just at home, quarantined pretty much like everyone else. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's summertime. You're working hard. You're working at a golf course, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so lots of hours, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
getting up early, cutting greens.
Yeah, long hours.
It's a good summer job. You're working on your tan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my hand tan.
Your hand tan. That's awesome. But you have some exciting stuff going on beyond working at the golf course. Tell us a little bit about your enterprise.
Yeah, so my enterprise, as you like to call it.
Social enterprise.
Yeah. It's called Downright Dyslexic. So what it is it's a company that I've made to help provide support and like guide other dyslexics and their families or teachers or whoever wants to learn more about it through the real life, what goes on behind the scenes with dyslexia. Yeah, so I started that in your class. So I started that it was a while ago, 3 years ago.
2 years ago, 3 years ago, yeah.
2 or 3 years ago. And it was kind of just a project. It was just a passion project that I had to do for Miss Chambers. And then it turned into just something way more than that. And it turned into something that I enjoyed. And also I thought like there's thinking about how many issues and how many problems I had growing up with looking for answers and trying to figure it out on my own, when it's a lot easier if there's someone there to help you and guide you. So it started off as a project just for a class, and then it turned into a lot more than that. So then in my second year of college, my teacher said to me, or my professor said to me, because we were working on business, portfolios, business plans, et cetera. So he said we had to come up with like a fake business and then write a business plan and do all the work for it and whatnot. And I went up to him and I said, like, can we make a deal if I have a business and I actually pursue with it and do all the things that I want to do and actually provide you with like work? Can that be my project instead of writing a business paper? Because I'm not huge into writing papers. And he loved the idea. He said that it was a great idea and that he would be happy to accommodate me in that way. So I started it up again as a project, but also as something that I wanted to do. And then from there, it's just kind of taken off. And now I'm doing it not for a project or anything towards school, but just out of my own passion and out of my own drive. And yeah, that's
Yeah, it's awesome. So it's kind of like, from what I understand, it's kind of like a mentoring program, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you often say, you know, I'm not a professional and I don't have any credentials and whatever, but I have lived experience. And I know in talking to your mom and reading your blogs, I know I have friends who have children who are dyslexic, and I've sent them off to them, and it's so comforting for them, because they feel alone. They feel as
Yeah.
though, you know, nobody out there really understands their child. And your mom did a really emotional video with Peter Gamwell, who was a guest on another episode, talking about your experience and her experience. And I think
Yeah.
you encompass a lot of that in what you're doing. So that's awesome.
Well, I think that it's something that often, like, no one wants to be different. No one wants to stand out. No one wants only in good ways, right? And if you look at it from society's perspective, dyslexia is like looked down upon because, well, you can't read and you can't write and you can't spell and all these you can't. But there's so many you cans that we don't choose to look at, and it's just not talked about enough. I think that often when, like, I'll tell people, hey, like, can I have some help reading that? I'm dyslexic. They don't fully understand, and they just assume. And I think that, why not educate people when, for myself, I'm very vocal. I'm very I'm very comfortable with it now. That wasn't always the case, but educating them now, I find that if I can educate them now out loud, what about the person that doesn't feel comfortable yet? So I don't know,
Yeah.
that's just how I look at it.
Make it easier for other people, because you know exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm sure we're going to get back to a lot of what you were just talking there in our next few questions or whatever. So tell us a little bit about school. How was school for you? What was your experience?
Well, my experience and still what I'm experiencing, a lot of hatred, honestly. I'm not looking forward to going back to school. I've never enjoyed school. Since my mom always jokes around about how there's like two Fionas, and like at the beginning of the summer, I'm like one Fiona where she's fun and loving and so exciting. And then once August hits, like another Fiona comes out and it's just mad, angry, like just a mean, bad Fiona. And it's like it's funny, but it's also true, because that's how bad I just don't want to go to school. I don't want to participate. And it's not that I don't want to participate in learning and educating myself, but it's participating in the way that school is, I guess you want to say.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot of diversity in the way that people approach learning. I mean,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
reading and writing, and that's what we've seemed to value in a lot of, especially higher education.
Yeah, and that's clearly something I'm not good at. So
Yeah.
it's often I'll get put on a lower pedestal because of that. And I don't agree with that. I think that there's other ways of showing your smarts other than just reading, writing, filling out notebooks, filling out whatever, a textbook or paper packages or whatever. So
Yeah. So I know in a lot of our discussions and things that you've written on your blog, you talk about a lot of different people who have come into your life throughout your educational career. So the next question I ask my guests is, what do you think is good about our system? And I know that you had some very positive experiences with some of your educators.
So yeah, like I think with everything you have to look at it like there, no matter what you're gonna do, there's gonna be good and bad. And I think growing up in like through the schooling system, I was very lucky to have a supportive family and some, not all, but some supportive teachers and other EAs and learning support teachers, etc. So there's always bad when it comes to that, but there's always good. I don't know if I'm allowed to say names, so I'm just not going to say names just in
Well,
case.
you wrote specifically about one particular EA, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
think you should give her a shout out.
okay, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name. Anyways,
Oh,
her name was Miss Pierce. She went to she was at Barhaven Public School. I was there from grade 1 to grade 5. And often I talk about how much of a lifesaver she was for me. Often there's times where I think I wouldn't be at the place where I am today, nor would I think that I would be alive at some points because of her, and just how much support and guidance, and just she's a lovely lady. And not only was she a lovely lady outside of the schooling, but she I don't know, I think that she taught me so much, and I think that she was a big reason why I accepted, because I didn't accept, and I still some days don't accept the fact that I'm dyslexic and that I have struggles with school and that I don't understand school and all that. But I often turn back to her and think about how much she helped me improve myself. And I'm very fortunate to have that story and have that relationship with her, where I know a lot of other kids weren't as lucky as I was to have her in my life. So,
yeah, I think there's no doubt about it that one of the most positive things in schools are the people in the building. There are a lot of people in education who get in because they want to make a difference, and sometimes they're stuck with being within the system, and
yeah.
sometimes that can be a huge barrier. So I know you would probably have lots to say about this, but do you think our current system is failing our youth?
So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about systems and how systems are supposed to be built to run perfect, right? And so would you call it a school system? Because I don't think the school system is perfect, right? A system is supposed to run to the max, to the like on point, and I just don't think that's happening. I think that there's a lot of issues that can be solved. Of course, it's a lot of work to fix that, but it's like it's time. It's time to change it, because especially with this whole pandemic thing going on, I'm hoping that out of this there'll be some changes. And I think that not only will we kind of figure out that, you know what, right now, like in life right now, do I really need to know some of my math skills that I learned, whatever A2 plus B squared, I don't even remember exactly. No, but there's other things that I should be learning about real life and what goes on real life and how to take care of others and how to like collaborate and all of these things that right now like we need the most, right? Um so yes, there's a lot of failures in the school system, and yes, I think that they need to be fixed.
Okay. Yep. Um, if you could change, oh, actually, before we ask that question, um, so you're talking about, right now we're in this pandemic and you think it's a really great time to make some major changes. Society believes education is what it's always been, right? And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes when I'm approaching parents and talking to them about my philosophies and how I'm going to approach delivering curriculum, it takes them a while to wrap their head around. So what do you think society needs to, if we are going to make a change, unlearn about school? Like how do we move forward? How do we get society on our side?
Well, first, I think we need to learn how to adapt to change. We need to figure out that you know, change isn't necessarily a bad thing, which like we all struggle with. I struggle with. It doesn't matter who you are, right? It's change is a hard thing because you get comfortable and um you get learning to like what you like and what you don't like, and no one like really wants to change up their routine. That's why a lot of people like a strict routine, etc., etc. And I think that's the first thing that we need to do is accept that change is going to happen, that it needs to happen. And then the second thing, what was the second part of your question?
Like, what does society need to, like you're saying, you know, we need to learn to embrace change, but
Yeah.
is there anything else that we need to kind of unlearn, like related to school? Like, what can learning look like?
Do you want me to start with that? We could be here
Sure.
for a while.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, I think that we need to unlearn about that you go into class and you sit in your desk and you listen to the teacher talk for an hour, and then you fill out papers, and then you move on to the next class, and then you go home and do homework. I think that that is boring. I think that that is uh, educational. I think that there's so many more, and now that I'm in college, you kind of realize that there's more to learning than just sitting in class, etc. Like, that's why I'm a big fan of, I never took it in high school, but co-op, um, or like a placement, or any of those type of classes, because you learn so much more about what's going on around you and what's going on in like real life, I guess, than, I don't know, some math problem that you're never going to use in your life, right? And 100% there is engineers out there and etc. who will use those problems, but they also need to learn how to do other things like interact with others, and um, how to, well, social media. Social media is huge right now. How to work social media. I'm finding that a big problem right now with my business is, as much social media as I learned in your class, it's hard to stay on top of things. It's hard to um, keep up with the trends. It's hard to make your post look eye-catching, etc., etc. And it's a lot of work, but it's how people connect nowadays, right? So um, I think that we need to get away from so much like in-class learning and more out-of-class learning. Um, and I think that we should be doing things based on a student's interest, making sure, one, that they're comfortable, but that they're uncomfortable. Because when they're uncomfortable, you tend to learn the most. You tend to figure out your failures and what worked for you and what didn't work for you. And it tends, or at least for myself, it tends to have like memories. So yeah, I don't love speaking to an audience, but then get up there, I have the confidence to do it, and then I learn after saying, you know what, I didn't do this very well, but I could do this better next time. So I don't know, that's just how I see it, I guess.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I think, like, does learning have to happen in the school building, right?
No.
Like, no. I mean, there's so many things, and in my journey, just in the last, you know, since COVID happened, this whole being pushed into homeschooling, I've joined so many homeschooling groups, and you know, I had this vision of what homeschooling was, and it was really very different than what I'm learning. It was kind of the stereotype of the, you know, free hippie, like just do whatever you want kind of
Yeah.
stuff, which I mean, there's a spectrum. I'm learning there's radical unschoolers to more organized homeschoolers and kind of everything in between. But the philosophy is so cool. It's all about really like what you just said, like what does my kid want to learn right now? How do we figure that out? What can we do? How do we kind of throw in some literacy and some numeracy and make it so that it's not not
But it's
necessarily,
interesting.
yeah, it's interesting to them. And it's almost like I remember asking a student, because I was thinking about, like, what could we name this type of learning that we're doing? And somebody said, learning without knowing it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you can accomplish that, then I think that's really cool. Yeah, so if you could change one thing, because I know you've got a list of things that need to be changed. If you could change one thing, what would be your ultimate goal? Like, what would be your first thing that you think would make a big difference? I know it's a hard one.
Yeah, that is a hard one. I don't know if I'd necessarily change, but something like would add on be okay?
Yeah.
So, like I would add on either a class or a part of the curriculum or whatever, where it's like how to interact with others, just straight up interacting. Because I find we learn to interact as kids together. We learn at recess that, well, I guess you're supposed to be taught this. Not everyone was taught this, but you're allowed to hang out with everyone and everyone can be your friend. And it's not, you're my friend, you're not my friend. And I think that you learn that, like, you have to be nice, you have to share, you have to, all the like basics we learn when we're younger. And then when we grow up, we tend to lose those. And I find we don't know how to interact with each other unless we're on our phones. We don't know how to like share. We don't know how to collaborate. We don't know how to teamwork. And I find that it's hard even in the next stage. I don't know because I'm not there, but like when I hear, like, my parents will talk about work, there's always like teamwork, right? You always have to work as a team, no matter what job you're doing. Even if you're working alone, you still have to work with someone else, because if you're in a business, you have if you're selling, you still have customers, et cetera, et cetera. So no matter what, the way that I look at it is the world's kind of just one big team, and we all have our own individual strengths and weaknesses. And I feel like if we just work together more and didn't like butt heads as much, that it would go around so much smoother. Again, in a perfect world, but that's never going to happen. But I think having a class where we learn, I guess, like, just, I don't know, how to be a good person.
Yeah.
How to treat others, how to like how to be human.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's basically the class, how to be human. So I don't know exactly what that would entail yet. Give me a bit and I'll figure that out and let you know. But
Awesome.
yeah, I find that we lose a lot of the important things that we need in our life. And if school is supposed to be an educational spot and we're supposed to learn everything in school, then why aren't we learning that? Why aren't we learning how to be a human? Why aren't we learning the basics?
Yep, I love it.
So yeah.
All right, well, before we end and we find out where people can get in contact with you if they want to hear more about Downright Dyslexic, this started from a podcast that I've been doing with my social change makers this spring. We want to know, because we've been learning about our strengths and our powers and all the things that we're good at and recognizing that. So we want to know what your superpower is.
Well, I have so many, but No, my superpower would probably be my creativity. I'm very much a out of the box thinker. And I often, like my mom will always say when she has a problem at work or when she needs a solution for something, she'll come to me or my dad, because my dad's also dyslexic. And we just tend to have the answer right away because it's just so clear for us, where other people it's much harder because they have to figure it all out, and it's right there for me. So yeah, I would say my creativity.
I would have to agree. I remember doing lots of brainstorming in class, and we'd call you over and pick your brain.
Yeah.
I think it's also when you were talking about this at the beginning about being dyslexic and talking about the things that you're not good at or you can't do, and you want to focus on the things that you can do. I think I sent this to you. I got these cards from a lady in the UK, and it's called "What's Your Strength?" And I'm just going to show this. It says, I am neurodiverse. So there's a couple different things on there, and dyslexia is one of them. And I love it. And I mean, I don't remember if you responded, but it says your strengths may include intuitive, 3D spatial reasoning, see the big picture, attention to detail, helpful, imaginative, problem solving, self-motivated, determination, strategic, and vision. And that, to me, that describes you, like,
Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So I think it's really, really amazing that you're trying to use your struggles to really help and give back to the community and to people like yourself. So if people want to read your blog or get in contact with you, what is the best way?
So they can get in contact with me through multiple social media. So Facebook, just my name, Fiona Milligan. On Twitter, downright dyslexic, at downright dyslexic. On Instagram, again, at downright dyslexic. And then on my, like, to visit my website and my blogs, it's just www.downrightdyslexic.com.
Awesome. No TikToking?
No, not a TikToker. I got too addicted to it.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say that, but I'm going to try and use it for Rise Academy. We're going to see. I'm going to get my daughter to help me.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, go ahead.
There's a new one coming up. I don't know what it is. I can't remember the name of it, but it's going to be the new trendy thing soon, I have a feeling.
Like a new app or something?
Yeah, it's like the new TikTok or Instagram or whatever, but
okay.
We'll see.
I know, I'm just getting caught up with TikTok, so it's going to take me a while. Yeah. But I know you have, I don't know what it is, but I know you have big things coming down the pipes maybe in the near future.
Yeah.
So we'll all stay tuned for that.
Yes, stay tuned.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.